Today we're going to take apart the credit card trap, and we're calling it a trap for a reason. It's a system so perfectly designed that millions of people can get stuck in it even when they're following all the rules.
Let's start with this story about a woman from Phoenix. Get this, it took her 11 years to pay off one credit card. She did everything she was supposed to do, never once missed a payment, and still ended up paying back almost 3 times what she borrowed. So the question is, how is that even possible?
Well, it's possible because her story, sadly, isn't some rare exception. It's just one story inside this absolutely massive number. Americans are now carrying over $1.13 trillion in credit card debt. That's the highest it has ever been.
But listen, this isn't really a story about people being irresponsible with money. It's a story about a very quiet, very smooth-running machine. So in this explainer, we're going to pop the hood and show you exactly how it all works.
The way into this machine is through the most common and probably the most misunderstood part of your credit card statement, that little number called the minimum payment. Right now, nearly half of all Americans with a credit card are caught inside this machine. They carry a balance from one month into the next. And we're not talking about luxury shopping sprees. For most people, this debt comes from just trying to cover the basics, groceries, a sudden medical bill, or getting the car fixed.
And for everyone carrying that balance, this is the price they pay. The average interest rate is just shy of 25%. And this isn't just a number, okay? This is the rocket fuel that powers the entire machine.
So, let's walk through a really clear example. Imagine you've got a $4,000 balance, maybe from an unexpected trip to the ER. Your interest rate is 22%, and the bank says, hey, no worries, your minimum payment is just $120. It feels manageable, right? So you pay it, you feel responsible. But here's what happens the second they get your money. Your 22% APR works out to about $73 in interest just for that month. So the first $73 of your $120 payment, poof, it vanishes, eaten up by interest. That leaves just $47 to actually chip away at the $4,000 you owe.
Now, if you kept making only that minimum payment and you never ever used the card again, it would take you 19 years to pay off that original $4,000. 19 years.
And let's look at the total bill. Over those 19 years, you wouldn't have just paid back the $4,000 you borrowed. Nope, you'd have paid back over $10,700. And remember, this isn't a penalty for messing up. This is the system working exactly as it was designed to. This is what the industry calls revolving debt. And honestly, the metaphor is perfect. It's like you're on a treadmill. You are putting in the work. You are running. You are making those payments every single month, but you look down and the balance has barely moved. You're just running in place. And if life throws you a curveball and you have to use the card again, well, the treadmill just speeds up. But the minimum payment, that's just the engine. This machine also has these other, let's call them architectural traps. They're features that look like they're helping you, but they're actually designed for you to fail.
Think about that classic 0% APR for 18 months offer. It sounds like an amazing deal, but what's hidden deep in the fine print is this thing called deferred interest. If you have even one single dollar of that balance left when the promo ends, they don't just start charging you interest from then on. Oh no. They go all the way back to day one and charge you interest on the entire original purchase for all 18 months, and they dump it on your balance all at once.
Now, what's crucial here is that this whole system doesn't rely on people being dumb. It relies on them being human. It's built to exploit a quirk in our brains called hyperbolic discounting. Basically, our brains are hardwired to want the immediate relief of a small, easy payment right now way more than we fear the huge, abstract cost of interest way off in the future. And the banks, they know this. They literally employ teams of behavioral economists. They know we're terrible at guessing how long it'll take to pay something off. They know we think more of our payment is hitting the principal than it really is. And they know the word minimum itself is a psychological trick. It makes you feel like you're meeting a requirement, not that you're just barely doing enough to stay on the treadmill.
So if you're stuck in this thing, how are you supposed to get out? Well, this is where the design gets even more insidious. The standard ways out are often blocked, specifically for the people who need them the most.
A balance transfer sounds great, but it hits you with an immediate fee. A personal loan to pay off the debt is a fantastic idea, but you need a good credit score to even qualify. And what's one of the fastest ways to wreck your credit score? You guessed it, carrying a high credit card balance. It's a perfect catch-22. The problem itself prevents you from getting the solution. And all of this brings us to the bigger picture. Because when you finally zoom out, you realize this isn't just a collection of individual problems. It's a massive, systemic business model.
Just last year, Americans paid $154 billion in credit card interest and fees alone. Now that's a number so big it's hard to even grasp. So to put that in perspective, that is more money than the entire annual budget for the US Department of Education. It's an industrial-scale transfer of wealth from regular households to banks.
And if you want to understand the real business model, you just have to look at the language they use inside the industry. You know, if you're someone who pays your bill in full every month, you don't really make them much money. In their own jargon, you're a deadbeat. But if you carry a balance, making those minimum payments, stuck on the treadmill for years, you're not a customer who's struggling. You're a performing asset.
Look, at the end of the day, credit cards didn't create the huge economic pressures that so many people are facing, that giant chasm between what wages are and what things actually cost. But what they did do is build a very, very profitable bridge over that chasm. And that bridge charges a heavy toll that just keeps compounding month after month after month.
And that really is the genius of its design. The cruelty of this system isn't loud or aggressive. It's quiet. It's polite. It comes in the form of a thank you for your payment email. It's a system that has mastered the art of making you feel responsible, even as it's quietly locking you into a cycle of debt.
Which leads us to one final big question. When millions and millions of people are doing exactly what they're told, they're making their payments on time, they are following all the terms and conditions, and they still end up trapped for years or even decades, is the problem really with them? Or is it with the architecture of the trap itself?